This presentation supports implementation of the ODHS and OHA customer service and response policy and the ODHS and OHA email signature and auto reply policy. Throughout the training, we'll do group activities in the form of thought prompts and questions about the slide. You'll hear about how and why these policies were created, and we'll review the customer service and response policy, the email signature and auto reply policies, and the tools that have been created to support implementation of the parts of the policy that affect every person in ODHS and OHA. We'll also talk about next steps for you as an individual and for both agencies in policy implementation. The project team has worked hard to anticipate questions you may have. So throughout the presentation, we'll add answers to those questions where it fits in the presentation. We've also created additional resources and compiled existing resources that you can find on the OWL. FAQs, a smart sheet so you can submit questions not covered in the FAQs, and tools for taking action on your email signatures and auto replies. Please share in the chat one word that describes what good customer service means to you and why you think it's important to have a policy that supports customer service. The work group that drafted this policy did this activity as the first action at the first meeting. Some of the answers from the work group included responsiveness, language access, empathy, fast, reliable, follow through, and an understandable resolution. Great customer service is essential to building trust, supporting people with dignity, and helping everyone access the services they need. Whether it's an email, a phone call, or an in-person visit, every interaction is a chance to show care, respect, and responsiveness. To that end, the Governor's Office established a new customer service initiative from which the Department of Administrative Services, DAS, whose mission is to lead state agencies in service of Oregonians, asked agencies to develop a new customer service policy with specific elements. A 35-person work group that included representation from labor, ODHS programs and OHA divisions, including OIS, Equity and Inclusion Division, and the Office of Equity and Multicultural Services met for most of 7 months to finalize the recommended draft and tools to support the ODHS and OHA policy. The agencies also decided to create a supplemental policy around email signatures and auto replies. The work group members were given the opportunity to share the drafts of the policy and tools for feedback. Among others, the policy was shared with leadership teams, the statewide labor management group, and the lead for OHA's employee resource groups. A final draft was submitted and signed by agency leadership. Key to the success of the policy work group was acknowledging that not all our issues or concerns could be addressed by the work group immediately. Take just a minute to scan the QR code. This will take you to the ODHS and OHA customer service and response policy. You should review the entire policy. This presentation focuses on just a few aspects of the policy that affect every individual in ODHS and OHA. We'll also briefly discuss parts of the policy that will need to be addressed by additional work at the program and agency level. To meet DAS requirements, the policy gives ODHS and OHA until July 1st, 2027 to implement a plan that includes the list you see on your screen. Creating the plans will require additional work groups and leadership support. Both ODHS and OHA may choose to incorporate this work into transformation efforts already being worked on. Many ODHS and OHA programs already have metrics, including legislatively required key performance measures in place. Documenting those measures, identifying gaps, and creating a plan to address the gaps will all be part of ongoing work between now and July of 2027. The purpose statement of this policy reflects ODHS and OHA commitment to provide those we serve with quality customer service. It reflects our commitment to equity, service, and transparency, and acknowledges that we are each other's customers, and only by supporting each other can we successfully serve those outside the agency. The policy defines ODHS and OHA customers. That definition basically defines your customer as everyone you come into contact with while doing your job, including your coworkers. Quality customer service means improving customer satisfaction by acknowledging communications within one business day. This requirement was set by DAS for all state of Oregon agencies. The work group created tools to support this requirement, and we'll review those later in the presentation. Taking care of ourselves and one another, managing workload and our work-life balance, recognizing when our colleagues may need additional support, and constructively resolving our internal differences as part of taking care of ourselves and others. Professional workplace communication is specifically defined in the policy. You can also cross-review the DAS policy on professional workplace communication. The policy defines professional workplace communication as using plain language, providing clear information, whether we're writing to our customers or speaking with them, being empathetic and responsive, using communication to support our values of equity, intersectionality, service, and transparency, and communicating in ways that are anti-racist and trauma-informed. Knowledge check. What is the expected timeline to acknowledge all customer contacts? DAF and ODHS and OHA policy require that all customer contacts be acknowledged within one business day. As mentioned before, this presentation is not intended to cover every part of the customer service policy. Some areas that programs will need to address include determining how to keep contact information on the website up to date. For programs and offices that work with the public, providing a way for customers to do online appointment scheduling. HR and OIS will send annual reminders to staff to check their workplace contact information on Workday and Outlook, including instructions on how to update that contact information. How to ensure that online contact information is updated during staff onboarding and offboarding. With many programs moving to generic contact email and phone numbers online, this complexity of this requirement is decreasing. We'll also need to check and update the website at least once each year to check for outdated contact information and broken links. And we'll need to get a customer service strategy in place. True or false? ODHS and OHA have already done everything that's needed to implement this policy. False. There will be ongoing work to assess gaps in our service structures and identify new ways to address the requirements of the policy. Take just a minute to scan the QR code. This will take you to the ODHS and OHA email signatures and auto replies policy. This policy supports quality customer service by supporting professional workplace communication through standardization of fonts and styles. This supports accessibility and equity for our customers. To ensure email is accessible as possible, all emails should be formatted with a minimum font size of 12-point Aptos or Noto sans. This meets the new ODHS branding rollout requirements, which OHA will also be following. Last year, ODHS and OHA standardized email font through OIS as Verdana 12-point. With the agency branding changes, staff should expect to see a change to that branding, though there are still a few governance formalities to complete. Font email colors should be black. Though not addressed in the policy, questions have been asked about the practice of responding to emails in an alternate color, especially when responses are provided in the body of the additional email. Dark blue is generally accessible, but staff should use the accessibility checker available in Outlook if they are changing a color to respond within the body of an email. Staff are not permitted to include backgrounds, color formatting, or templates in email. The policy standardizes signature blocks to include names and contact phone numbers and a signature survey where one is available. OHA survey links are available on the OWL. The ODHS survey is still in development. The policy allows for use of a title or designation of a degree, use of gender identification pronouns, request for redirect of email received in error. It also allows for the use of agency logos provided by publications and creative services that include alt text. ODHS is reviewing other approved logos for inclusion in signature blocks when alt text versions are available. OHA has not made a determination about other logos at this time. The policy does not allow images, taglines, or sayings. It does not allow disclaimers. All ODHS and OHA staff email are public records, and while some information in email may be confidential and protected from sharing, it's rare that an entire email is protected, and labeling an email as confidential or attorney-client privilege does not actually make the email confidential or privileged. Since we want to prevent confusion, eliminating these disclaimers is the best option. Later, we'll walk through creating an email signature and an out-of-office reply. The policy requires creating auto replies that are in alignment with basic information requirements and the tools created to support the customer service response policy. We'll get to those tools next and do a hands-on creation. Auto replies should primarily include when you'll be out of the office or otherwise unavailable, when you will provide a personal response. If the auto reply is being used as a one-day acknowledgement, generally a personal response should be within 5 days. Provide alternate contacts for assistance or links to commonly requested materials. Are all ODHS and OHA emails public record? Yes, all emails are public records. Some information in the email may be protected from release, but staff should assume that everything put into email should be released to the public. Take a moment to scan the QR code. This will take you to the customer service and response guidelines. These guidelines are designed to help you implement the customer service response and email signature and auto reply policies. You'll find links to these tools as well as other materials in the references and related policies section of both policies. Because of DAS requirements, the ODHS and OHA customer service response policy says that staff have to acknowledge all customer interactions within 1 business day, whether the contact is by email, text, phone, or instant message. You're not required to respond to phishing, spam, or informational email. You should report anything threatening to the Office of Health, Safety, and Employee Wellness using the Workday Incident Reporting System. And you should use your best judgment in responding to contacts. These policies and the one-day acknowledgement are intended to support a standard of customer service across all Oregon agencies. Agency leadership agree that the policies will be enforced, but do not expect managers to proactively audit staff timelines for email responses or expect the customer service response policy to be used solely for discipline. Every member of the ODHS and OHA team recognizes that we have a lot of work. A one-day acknowledgement for every contact may seem impossible. Using the auto reply or voicemail feature to provide basic information can serve as the one-day acknowledgement requirement, but be sure to include information about when the customer can expect a personal response from you. There are things to consider as you set up a voice message or email auto reply. Can you provide a website, links, or alternate contact to provide a response for frequently asked questions? This can help minimize multiple contacts and make a personal response easier. Do you work an alternate schedule? Be sure to include that information in response timelines. Are you taking planned time off? Who can be contacted to help people while you're out? You are not expected to log in when you're sick or on vacation. That is paid time off. You may not be able to log in or want to log in if you're out sick. Managers should work with OIS to create an auto reply if someone is out for more than 5 days unexpectedly. If everyone in the agency uses auto reply all the time, we run the risk of filling up our email and our coworkers' email with automated responses. OIS has confirmed that auto replies will only respond one time per session per user. So auto reply to an auto reply will not keep responding. Outlook does allow you to set auto replies internally, externally, or both. Consider what best meets your response needs and the needs of your core customers. Don't forget, though, the people you work with are also your customers. If you use an external only auto reply, don't leave your internal customers wondering why they haven't heard from you in several days. DAS is prioritizing customer service across Oregon state agencies. It's important that our customers know that they can expect timely and consistent service from all our programs. No one reaching out to a state agency should feel like they're being ignored. Some teams track response times. Other teams have statutory timelines that mandate their responses. There's no single right answer, but as the agency implements these policies, identifying metrics, tracking and improvement mechanisms may be part of the work. All ODHS and OHA staff are required to follow state and agency policies. Leadership in both agencies recognize that we have limited resources. Using the auto reply feature allows all staff to meet the one-day acknowledgement requirement. Managers should ensure that signature blocks meet policy standards and staff are using auto reply appropriately. Managers are not expected to proactively audit response time or use customer service response timelines solely for discipline. Remember, to meet the DAS goals, ODHS and OHA have put forward a few key points. Professional workplace communication that is empathetic, accessible, and responsive, that supports agency values of anti-racism, equity, and trauma-informed. We need to resolve issues in designated timeframes, minimizing transfers and callbacks, and follow established program requirements for responses. Take a moment to scan the QR code and open the response scripts for phone and email. This information is designed to supplement the guidelines document for the customer service response policy and the email signature and auto reply policy. The document provides guidance on how often you should update your voicemail response and auto reply. It also provides multiple pre-created scripts for different situations you may find yourself. These scripts are optional. You may prefer to craft your own response. Just remember to provide a date that your customer can expect a personal response, alternate contacts, and other helpful information. Let's create an auto reply and signature block in Outlook. The QR code in this slide takes you to the Microsoft instructions. We're going to do this together now, but this presentation with the QR codes will be available for review on the OWL. Pull up your main Outlook window. Determine what version of Outlook you have. If you see a File tab in Outlook, you have Classic Outlook. If you don't see a File tab, you have New Outlook. Go to the View tab and click on View Settings. Next, if you're in Classic Outlook, select the File tab and select Automatic Replies. If you're in New Outlook, select Accounts, then Auto Replies. Turn on the toggle for automatic replies. In both Classic and New Outlook, select Send Automatic Replies. If desired, you can choose only send during this time range and set a date range and time to send auto replies. If you don't set a range for your auto reply, it will continue sending until you turn it off. The selection automatically defers to Inside My Organization. If you want to send auto replies to other ODHS and OHA staff, choose this option. Remember to consider this option carefully before you choose as an everyday acknowledgement. Internally, this is best used as an acknowledgement during periods of working offline for an extended period, being in the field, or being on vacation. If you only want to send to those outside the ODHS and OHA environment, choose outside my organization. You can choose both. You will need to select the font and size in both the Inside My Organization and Outside My Organization tab. Make sure your font is set to Aptos or Noto Sans with a minimum 12-point size. After the first time, the selection should default to these fonts. If you currently have text in your auto reply, you will have to delete it or change it before the font will reset. In the body of each tab, enter the text you want to appear in your auto reply. Don't forget to include when your customer can expect to hear from you personally, who can be contacted while you're not available, and other resources. When you've completed the text you want, select and click OK or Save, depending on whether you're in Classic or New Outlook. Your Outlook will now reflect that you're sending auto replies. Next, let's create a signature block together. The QR code in this slide takes you to the Microsoft instructions. We're going to do this together now, but this presentation will be available for review on the OWL. If you're using Classic Outlook, open a new email message. On the message menu, select Signatures. Then select Signatures again, found at the bottom of the drop-down Signature menu. In New Outlook, go to Settings, select Account, and then Signatures. If you have multiple accounts, choose your ODHS or OHA personal email. In Classic Outlook, under Select Signature to edit, choose an existing signature or create a new one. Name your signature. In New Outlook, select a new or existing signature and name it. Choose your font. ODHS and OHA staff should choose Aptos, or if you've downloaded the font packet, you may choose Noto Sans. Choose your font size. ODHS and OHA staff must use a minimum 12-point font. The font color is automatically set to black and is the required ODHS and OHA standard. If you're using a previously established signature, be sure you remove any templates that may be in place. In the body, enter the information you want to see in your signature. At minimum, this needs to include your name and contact phone number. OHA staff must include the link to their division customer service survey. The OWL page was not available at the time of this recording, but can be found in the communications you will receive in the coming weeks. You may also include pronouns, titles, and degree designations. If you want to include the agency logo, go to the ODHS or OHA OWL site and download the PCS provided logo with alt text included. When you have that downloaded, click on the item that looks like a customer screen, a computer screen, second from the right. Go to the location you stored the logo and click on the logo. Select Insert. When you've completed what you want in your signature, select Save. Choose your default signature. You can choose to have your signature automatically appear in every email, create a different signature for replies and forward email, or choose none. Choosing none will require that you select a signature every time you send an email. Click Save or OK, depending on what version of Outlook you're in. The customer service response policy and the email signature and auto reply policy go into effect November 1st. Next steps for all staff should be reviewing all the materials, checking out the project OWL site for additional information and instructions, including FAQs, contacting your program or division ambassador for any questions you have about the policy. Ambassador names are available on the OWL. Getting a compliant signature in place, determining whether you will use the auto reply feature to meet the one-day acknowledgement requirement, checking with your manager about any questions you have about your program's implementation of the policy, and submitting any unanswered questions to the core project team through the Smartsheet form that can be found on the OWL. Thank you.